Hey, F and True followers, JC Styles here.
Brian Crazy.
We are here with our 2011 Extreme Rules review. I almost said prediction, sorry.
That was earlier in the week. This is our review of Extreme Rules, and I do have to say that WWE did do a good job with this one. I do have to say, I mean, I know you don't like how the main event turned out, which we'll touch on in a minute, but up until 10:30, you were satisfied.
Yes.
You were very satisfied. So, let's jump right into it. For the dark match of the night, we saw Tyson Kidd and Sin Cara square off. For you guys that don't know out there, and this is the first time you've seen one of our reviews, dark matches are typically shown for the crowd or they're taped for superstars, which is WWE's, I guess you would call it their C show.
Or their free-for-all, which is not aired. We the consumer, or the WWE universe, we get a 30-minute promo package instead of this dark match. Remember when you used to order pay-per-views and you used to get the free-for-all and it would be the countdown and they have the one match and then all the countdown to the pay-per-view? No, we don't get that anymore.
The best thing about pay-per-views back in the day, I do have to say, we're not going to go too much into detail, we're going to jump into the card, but I do have to say, back in the day, Sunday Night Heat leading into a pay-per-view was simply freaking brilliant. I mean, do you remember Stone Cold with Eliminator before the '99 Royal Rumble? I mean, that shit was just, you can't remake moments like these.
Or when Austin and Yokozuna went and fought each other in SummerSlam 96, 97, and Yokozuna went to go do the Banzai drop and he broke the top rope.
Dude, I think the best breaking of the ring had to be Big Show and Brock Lesnar. Yeah. Hands down. But we saw Sin Cara pick up the win in a very good contest. Fortunately, a fan did put up a clip on the net and we were able to catch out this dark match because, like we said, it was not televised before this event. So this is the event that you guys saw on pay-per-view, or if you didn't have a chance to see it on pay-per-view, here's our results. First match of the night was Randy Orton against CM Punk.
This was the last man standings match, which, going into this whole pay-per-view, we were kind of wondering and speculating on how they were going to actually do Extreme Rules. The whole PG thing, the whole PG-13 or whatever you want to call it.
Well, Vince said it very good not to interrupt you, but Vince said it very good in a shareholders meeting last week that he believes that the WWE does not need blood to go extreme. But we did see some blood tonight anyway.
Yes. And we'll get into that when that match approaches.
Sure, but I'm sorry I interrupted you. Please continue with your thought.
But, you know, the match was good. It was pretty good back and forth. We saw some spots. We see CM Punk put the steel chair around Orton's head and throw him into the turnbuckle. We seen RKO off the second rope. We seen...
Well, the RKO off the second rope is what pretty much ended it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was a lot of incredible spots.
We saw the RKO on the announcer's table.
Oh, we sure did.
We saw the go-to-sleep inside the ring, the go-to-sleep on the steel steps. I mean, it was just a really good contest.
When he hit the go-to-sleep on the steel steps, I really thought the match was tipped into CM Punk's favor. I'm not going to lie.
I really would have liked to have seen the match maybe go out and go more around like the arena, more like something similar to what the Cody Rhodes Rey Mysterio match was when we get to that. But
it was still a good contest, almost 25 minutes.
Definitely
it was excellent. And
definitely was.
And I think opening with Randy Orton and CM Punk, I know Randy Orton has had some backstage issues with opening some of these pay-per-views versus being more or less in the main event, the position he's more been accustomed to in this last year. But this pay-per-view needed a strong match to open it, and I think CM Punk and Randy Orton went out there, they gave it their best, and Randy Orton picked up the win with that sick RKO Joey was talking about from the second rope.
Yes. Then we moved into the second match, which was Kofi Kingston, which was kind of like an impromptu match, just added at the last minute.
Teddy kind of just added it.
Was Sheamus defending the United States Championship against Kofi Kingston, which was this is kind of funny because Sheamus goes, I'm the United States champion, and I'm defending the title against someone who isn't even from the United States. Nutsack, neither are you. You're from Ireland, and you weigh 23 stone. Okay.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny statement I do have to say about Sheamus. I think the best thing was
Maylocks.
No, was the Kofi Kingston curse going to hit him again? Because you guys got to remember last year at Elimination Chamber, he got taken out on his way to the Chamber. Then Sheamus took him out
on
a week or so back on SmackDown.
Well, Friday night on SmackDown.
Yeah, and then was it going to happen again? Was the Kofi Kingston curse?
And he actually turned around and looked on his way down.
He did. It was hilarious because I mentioned it. I saw him turn. Joey pointed it out. It was definitely classic. Went into a good match.
Now this was a tables match.
This was a tables match.
But before we get into this, What about the sick Singapore King shots we saw in the Orton and Punk match? We didn't comment on that.
Welts on CM Punk's back. I mean, huge welts. I mean, Randy Orton just was like, he just went sick with it.
And then we saw Orton bashing Punk in the back when he was like draped over on the thing, and I was like, "It's out of here!" Randy Orton for the St. Louis Cardinals, 4-3 Chicago Cubs. And the reason why I say this because St. Louis Cardinals, Orton, St. Louis, Missouri, CM Punk, Chicago, Illinois, Chicago Cubs.
The Bears.
Yep.
Doubles.
The Cubs.
Doubles.
But we see.
If you guys never saw that clip, type up doubles Michael Jordan. That shit is hilarious. Chris Farley.
Yes.
Hilarious.
We seen the Kofi Kingston match, which was a tables match, which actually had some really good, interesting spots. Just when you thought Kofi was going to get put through a table, he found some kind of like agile way to get over the table. When Sheamus did the kick off when Kofi was on the table, he actually threw himself over the table on the outside. We see Kofi set up Sheamus on the outside table and did the boom drop, which was kind of funny because you kind of see Sheamus like this over the table, and you just see him happen to look up as Kofi's crashing down on him. It was just really funny.
Oh, it was awesome. The spots in this match were quite incredible. Like you said, Kofi Kingston's agility was definitely showcased.
He's standing behind the camera, and I just want to say this, and we're definitely going to leave this in there. Please, people, do not comment on my video saying you want to put it in my cousin's soft ass. Okay? He's standing there right behind.
He is serving as our cameraman for tonight, and that is some pretty disturbing shit.
Exactly.
I mean, the guy's just hanging out, chilling, watching Monday Night Raw, and you guys are like plotting on his ass. I mean, we won't go into any more detail.
That shit's funny, but we're gonna leave it at that.
Hell yeah, that's.
We see Kofi pick up the United States title, which we see. They went from having both the mid-card titles on SmackDown. Now we have the United States title back on Raw, and hopefully Kofi can retain it and have a successful run as United States champion.
Exactly. I'm very excited seeing Kofi as the United States champion. I think Sheamus did, a lackluster job at best. I think Daniel Bryan, even at the end of his title reign, it got stale with the whole Gail Kim, Bella Twins.
But I mean, he did have a good run when they had him put him defending it.
Yes. Technically, in a match, Daniel Bryan is second to none. And Daniel Bryan, just like Jeff Meacham, no DQ, not to plug the guy, but like you said, Daniel Bryan is his slave name, and his name is Bryan Danielson. Yes. And I do agree. Daniel Bryan is definitely his slave name. But moving on, we see Sir Michael Cole and Jack Swagger versus good old Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler.
When going into this match, we thought, and how we predicted it, we were going to see King get knocked out and beat down on to the point where it was going to be a team up on JR.
Did you think JR was going to be that vicious though?
Ankle lock, clothesline, punched in the face. He whipped
Swagger like crazy, dude.
He put Swagger in the ankle lock. He whooped Michael Cole before we see Michael Cole just roll him up for a pin.
By the way, Michael Cole comes out, right? This is a Texas whooping match or a country whooping match or wherever it's billed as. And we see Michael Cole out wearing freaking bubble wrap, guys.
A bubble wrap suit.
So he's got this little hole in the back of his bubble wrap, and I'm like, JC, watch. I bet you within a couple minutes, someone's going to be smart enough to see that hole and just rip the shit off of him.
Exactly.
And dude, like clockwork, 2 minutes later, it was gone. And we see Cole, like JC said, we see Cole get whipped. We see Swagger get whipped. And if it wasn't for Cole somehow pulling a quick roll-up on Jim Ross, which Jim Ross isn't a trained wrestler.
Exactly.
Cole probably, to be honest, has more experience now because he's been training with Swagger.
Exactly.
And, it's a damn shame because Michael Cole does not belong in a wrestling ring.
Oh, just in case if you guys are wondering, this is not a wrestling shirt. This is actually a Mark Echo Unlimited t-shirt. So, yeah, I just thought I'd point that out.
Okay, totally unnecessary fact, but let's move on.
Just in case if anyone wanted to point it out or say, oh, Joe, JC, that's a really fat shirt. What are you wearing? I just wanted to let you guys know. So
I think I have my shirt on as well. Alright, that's enough for our dry humor. Moving on, we see Rey Mysterio go against the grotesque one, Cody Rhodes. And I do have to say, before we jump into discussing this match, Cody Rhodes has taken this character by the fucking horns and ran with it. And now, I don't know if Dusty helped motivate this character, or this was somebody else in WWE creative, or if this was just Cody's own manifestation of what dashing could become once he turned into a crazy, psychologically deranged character. But I mean, he is doing phenomenal with this role.
Yes. We see the match start, and it was a very fast-paced start to the match. We see the match basically go from the ring to the backstage. We see Cody Rhodes usually use like this counter type thing that they use to serve food and stuff for the concession stands. Basically jumped up onto it vertically, jumped back and hit Rey Mysterio in the face with the kick that he does off the second rope. Was really interesting, just to see this match. This
was the one match that got This Is Awesome chant.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the people flooding out of the stands into the back of this arena by the concession area.
Because people didn't want to watch the match on the screen. They wanted to go see it behind everything.
And I mean, they brought it right to the crowd. And up until this point, this pay-per-view just delivered and kept delivering and kept delivering. It's like they knew they had a stigma going into this pay-per-view due to the last two Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those pay-per-views were lackluster events. We did not get to see many high spots, and we had a couple Extreme Rules contests.
What about when we seen Batista get the Attitude Adjustment off the car through the stage? I mean, that was probably about a good spot.
Was that Extreme Rules, or was that Over the Limit?
I think that might have been Extreme Rules, but
it was Over the Limit. It was Over the Limit because they had the cars.
Yeah.
Which they are returning with Over the Limit this year, and Fatal 4-Way has now become Capital Punishment, I guess, if I've read that correctly.
No, I think Capital Punishment is going to be the tagline for Fatal 4-Way.
Fatal 4-Way Capital Punishment? Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever have you. But for this match, we end up seeing
Ray pick up the win. It was a very good,
fast-paced
entertaining match.
I do have to say that Cody Rhodes does not wrestle.
I'll let you finish.
Cody Rhodes wrestles in the Southern style. You can tell he's been taught by his father. You can tell that he's not a wrestler. He's proficient in wrestling.
Yeah.
And there's a difference in that, guys. If you don't know what I mean, Google study Southern style wrestling. RASSLIN. You guys are going to see a fast-paced, totally different style that's not as flashy as the WWE. It was very, very, very prominent, in the NWA and up until WCW's closure. And I mean, TNA is probably the closest you're going to come to Southern style wrestling.
Probably, I would probably say that.
In the mainstream.
Or ROH.
But the shame is, and I hate to say this, is WWE, even though I have read, they do want to appreciate their heritage, guys. They have changed their name to WWE Inc. They have cut out the name World Wrestling Entertainment. We all know what it still stands for. They said they do appreciate the wrestling heritage, but for a wrestling company that doesn't want to be billed as a wrestling company, I guess that makes TNA North America's largest wrestling company. So for all you haters out there, never thought it would be possible. TNA is now #1.
But in the middle of this pay-per-view, we saw a over-the-limit package for May 22nd, which is only 21 days away from tonight, and which is weird. We see it basically starts off like it looked like a family sitting down, getting ready to enjoy like a really good, funny family comedy movie.
And maybe they went to change to WWE or something,
And then the tagline, it goes LOE, lack of entertainment. And I pointed this out to Brian. I was like, oh yeah, lack of entertainment. So much goes for with the WWE. Then they just go into Over the Limit.
There was no blend, there was no transition.
It just went lack of entertainment, boom, Over the Limit.
Now, I thought it would have been funny, lack of entertainment, and then you see them flicking through the channels and they can't find anything on.
Exactly.
And then, bam, they land on WWE, and then kind of like the old school, like, World Wrestling Entertainment, boom, dun, and you heard some rock music or something like that.
No, it was just lack of entertainment, boom, video package for
Over the Limit.
Over the Limit.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't have much else to say. I mean, Ray won a hard-fought battle.
Exactly.
I think you covered pretty much all the high spots in the match. I mean, we had incredible agility out of both superstars. Yeah. But at the end of the night, Ray proved why Ray is the leading, luchador in the United States right now.
Exactly. What is the next match?
Next match, loser leaves WWE. We saw Layla go against her former tag team partner and her Team Lay Cool companion, Michelle McCool.
This match, it was real quick. I was fiddling with my iPod Touch, I'm sorry.
This guy's hooked on this frickin' thing.
Looking at apps, looking at stuff for certain websites, looking at wrestling information, stuff like that. Then I basically look up and I see Layla do an amateur-style roll-up pin, which is almost like a cradle.
Yeah.
A cross cradle.
Yeah. Michelle had her one way, and Layla kind
of cradle lock, I think is what they call it.
Well, it's kind of when you hook the arms and you tilt up on your opponent. If you imagine on the mat, I'm not going to lay on the ground to demonstrate right now, but
like it was like a cradle pin. Bret Hart used to do it a lot. Shawn Michaels used to do it a lot back in the day.
I am pretty tired, but I mean it's a little cold out here right now.
It's not that bad. We see Layla pick up the win. We kind of see her crying. We see Michelle McCool in the ring crying, and then shock.
Wow.
Kharma, aka Awesome Kong, which I'm not gonna even call her Kharma. Awesome Kong,
the former
comes
awesome
out
Kong.
And just basically puts the WWE Universe and the divas in the locker room, even the men, because she can hang with the men too, and put everyone on notice that she's here and she is not to be played with.
And then she picks up Michelle for this move, and I swore she was going to dump Michelle right on her fucking head.
She calls that, I think it was in TNA, it was called the Amazing Slam. It was kind of like a reverse glam slam. No, it was called the Implant Buster. She called it the Implant Buster. And I would have, actually, to be honest, I would have rather have seen her do the Awesome Bomb. Probably would have been better because it's a lot more innovative. So we see that, and then we basically see her like freak out, laughing, not laughing. She was basically like a black female Bill DeMott, aka humorous,
or General Erection.
Yes.
And she was just insane. She would look real serious. She'd be like the Wicked Witch of the West. Then look real serious, and then be like
yeah.
And then real serious one more time. And she looked down one more time, and she was like and then that was about it. And then we move into the promo package hyping the for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. We see Christian face off against who was already the #1 contender before the 20-man Battle Royal several weeks back, Alberto Del Rio. We see, this was match of the night, if not match so far of the year.
This was Christian's first return to a ladder match in quite some time. And yeah, it wasn't like ladder matches of the old, but it was just fast-paced. Alberto Del Rio was definitely out of his element because I don't think he really knows how to maneuver a ladder, use a ladder as a weapon,
but
stuff like that.
But I think by the end of that match, he was starting to get more and more comfortable. Plus, he had this little stubby ladder. It could have been
Hornswoggle
ladder. And both these guys, the offensive moves they were pulling off with this little midget ladder.
Yeah.
And then they had a ladder laying across from the apron, across the announce table. Yes. Then they had the one in the ring that they kept setting up back and forth. And, the spots, Del Rio goes to jump off and jump onto Christian, and he just eats the ladder.
He eats the ladder. We see
Christian get hung up in the ladder, and he's just hanging there like, oh my God.
We see Del Rio going to climb, we see Christian going to climb the ladder after the big spill out off the top rope where Del Rio ate the ladder. We see Brodus Clay come in and basically grab Christian and go to do some kind of move, and Christian shoves him into the corner and takes this little step ladder that was there, and he basically bashes Brodus in the face with it. And my cousin said it best. Someone just wanted to connect with somebody with the ladder. I think Christian tried using it on Del Rio a couple times and it didn't work. But that actually, at first, it kind of looked like Christian had busted himself open because he had gotten caught in the little step ladder.
He had some blood on his face.
And
exactly.
We see Del Rio do the cross armbar, which is kind of innovative to see because you've never actually seen someone do that
through a ladder.
we've seen the STF by John Cena on the ladder. We've seen the crippler crossface on the ladder, but we've seen the walls of Jericho on the ladder, on the actual ladder itself, and we never really.
Yeah, the walls of Jericho on the ladder was very sick.
We never really seen the cross armbar, and then lo and behold, we see
there's been a lot of
dumped out.
There's been a lot of criticism over his delivery of the crossbar bar, his execution. I think personally he pulls it off very well. There are some in the wrestling circles that don't quite like this move or the delivery of this move, and I think by him pulling off the move, utilizing
the
ladder like that, really helped add some credibility to Del Rio's finisher. Because I mean, who sells an armbar as a finisher? I mean, that's
nobody.
He took a very basic move, add that that little spin into it, and really sold it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a good mark of a good superstar, in my opinion. I mean, you could have a guy that does the most over-the-top slam every time, Goldberg, and he's only out there for 5 minutes, or you could have a guy that just does these really innovative, creative wrestling moves, Del Rio, and not that I don't like Goldberg. I actually like Goldberg very much. But that was the problem with the WCW power plant, as me and Joey were talking about earlier. They produced wrestlers that were just too stiff, that didn't have the appreciation. I think Bret Hart said it best. You don't hurt your opponent. I mean,
accidents happen.
Accidents happen, but outside of what you guys enjoy for entertainment, this is obviously a choreographed business. There are real bumps and real falls, and people really get hurt in accidents.
But for Bret Hart to actually take a jab at Goldberg the way he did, I mean, do you see Austin going around blaming Bret Hart for Owen dropping him on his
Goldberg
neck? I mean, I'm sorry, Austin blaming Owen Hart?
I'm not a Bret Hart mark by any means. I'm probably a bigger Goldberg fan.
Hey, do you think Droz goes around blaming D'Lo for botching a move? No, accidents happen, and you take that risk every time you climb through the ropes.
Well, it's.
But let's get back to the.
Because we are running a little short on time, but the real issue at hand, I think, just to close out my segment, is he works stiff. And it's been history throughout wrestling. The wrestlers who work stiff are the ones that cause the injuries. And that's not to tie Tough Enough into this right now, but that's what's going on with Tough Enough. They're trying to show you, especially there's this one kid on there that is just working so stiff, and he's only caring about how he looks in the ring. He doesn't give a fuck about his opponent, and that doesn't make for a good match, nor a good competitor.
Talking about, and then what we were saying, sorry for the technical difficulties, but we see, the fact is that we see, it sucks because Christian's now getting the world title, and like Brian said during the pay-per-view, it's a shame that they had to wait for Edge to get hurt and have to leave, or for him, or the title to be vacated for Christian to get the title. Christian definitely has the overall aspect to be champion, to carry the program, to carry the business, but it's just really... I'm just glad to see Christian as champion, and I hope that they don't treat this title run as a complete joke like they did with so many in the past.
Well, like JC said, to pretty much sum it up, Del Rio was booked to win the last 3 pay-per-views to become the champion. Now, due to circumstance, Del Rio did not win at WrestleMania because they did not want that to be Edge's sending off. Now, Christian picking up the strap might be circumstance due to the Edge situation, but I am happy for him. I've always been a fan, like JC said, back from the Brood days.
Yes.
And I'm glad to see him pick up the strap. For our next match of the night, we see Big Show and Kane go against Wade Barrett and Ezekiel in kind of an impromptu match, yet again, lumberjack stipulation for this one.
Yes, sorry about the dogs barking, but, rude people don't know how to keep their fucking mutts shut, quiet.
99% of Connecticut
I love
sleeping
dogs,
right now.
but I don't like when dogs are barking at night. It's rude. You should be able to keep the dogs quiet. For perfect example, my cousin has a dog, and that dog, and with the exception of people coming to the house and ringing the doorbell, the dog is completely quiet. She's a doll.
I might even put a little piece of text when I'm cutting this video. JC's rants.
But we see Kane and Big Show retain the titles in a tag team title / lumberjack match. And it would really, to be honest, I think this was just really giving the people, the Cena and the Miz and Morrison, a little bit more time to kind of get ready for their match and do last-minute preps.
Exactly. And like he said best, Big Show and Kane picked up the win in a pretty decent match. It was about 10 minutes long. It was a good filler to allow... to build into the world's title match, the WWE Championship, We see John Cena face off against John Morrison and the defending champion, The Miz. I had low expectations going in, and I have to say that all 3 of these competitors there were some pretty sick spots in this match. I mean, we saw Starship Pain off the top of the cage. We saw an attitude adjustment off the top rope. I mean, there was some sick...
To be honest, the way that it looked, I mean, Morrison looked like he was, even though, given what you say, everyone says, I mean, Morrison actually looked like he was getting ready to pick up the win at several points of the match.
He looked very close. I will admit, especially when he was sitting on the door, I was like, why doesn't he just fall?
Exactly. And we see R-Truth come in, and we see him basically just viciously, violently assault Morrison, and he wasn't holding anything back. He was literally hitting him in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And
R-Truth is what tipped this match in the favor of who's the winner, John Cena. John Cena is the new WWE champion.
Was good up until the main event, which I hate.
Like I said off the beginning, I mean, 10:30
10:30
rolled around, he was happy. 10:40, he couldn't have been more pissed.
Yes, because the fact is that, you know, I mean, because now what we're going to see The Miz and Cena in a rematch either tomorrow night on Raw or The Miz and Cena at Over the Limit, and we're going to see Cena probably retain, and then we're going to see Cena go on a year-long run and then lose the title right around WrestleMania just to gain it back and then feud with The Rock at WrestleMania. If that happens, I'm going to be extremely pissed off because, to be honest, I rather would have seen The Miz hold it and maybe have a Miz John Morrison single one-on-one main event.
Well, the big speculation that we're going into right now, I mean, Miz and Morrison could draw, but I think Del Rio, John Cena, SummerSlam would be a bigger draw, and I think that's what they're planning towards. Del Rio was drafted to the Raw brand last week on the 2011 WWE Draft that was held on Monday Night Raw, and now that Christian's champion, now that Del Rio's off SmackDown, I'm sure his sights are going to be set on John Cena.
Exactly.
And I'm sure somehow he's going to interject himself into that title match. If not at the next pay-per-view, the following.
Yes.
By the time SummerSlam rolls around, the speculation is that these two superstars are going to square off. But for the rundown of the night, because we did bring you a lot of information in this video,
we saw the debut. We've seen a new United States Champion crown,
Kofi Kingston.
We've seen the debut of Kharma,
the former Awesome Kong.
We've seen Michelle McCool lose her match, and the loser leaves WWE.
So Michelle McCool is now gone, at least for the time being.
Yes. We have a new World Heavyweight Champion in Christian, and a new WWE Champion in John Cena. So it was a really good pay-per-view with the exception of the main event.
Exactly.
Raw's main event. And, yeah, right back at you.
Our cameraman over there is a big John Cena fan.
Texting some girl, probably, most likely.
So he does not like any John Cena criticism. But that's why he's the cameraman.
For the taglines... we are effing true wrestling and we are effing awesome.
Or for the real taglines, you're either effing true or you're effing screwed. And learn to love it. It's the best thing on YouTube today.
I actually think effing true or effing true is
you don't even remember
amazing.
you didn't even remember what you just said.
We're effing true and we're effing amazing. I think it was pretty damn good.
Alright, Miz.
You're effing awful. But anyway, our cameraman should shut his mouth and know his role. And we'll see you tomorrow night for the Monday Night Raw review.
Hit the button, stupid.